G'day everyone, Average Alexis here, hoping you're having a good one. And today, literally maybe 10 minutes ago, I decided to do a first attempt / tutorial at the sewn shut lips. Now I know that's a bit of a mouthful, but I don't really know what else to call it. The reason I wanted to do this was my friend Ashley, aka Snowell, we were talking about horror makeup through messages today. And I got this idea, like I've always wanted to try the sewn shut mouth look kind of thing with latex and all that. I've always wanted to try it, but I was also scrolling through Twitter and Jacksepticeye pops up a lot because he's currently on his tour. And I was like, hang on a second, there's all this stuff swirling around at the moment between Jack and all the different egos, so like Antisepticeye and Dr. Schneepelstein and those sorts of things. Sorry if you have no idea what I'm talking about, I am a huge fan of Jacksepticeye, so there you go. But the sewn shut mouth thing to me, I've got it in my head, and this probably has nothing to do with the direction Jacksepticeye wants his characters to go. This is just me. I think that like Jack's kind of been in this, the way that he was putting it across with untold stories and that sort of thing, Jack's been in this sort of coma and the other egos have been trying to get him to wake up, like, you know, wake up, that sort of thing. And I'm pretty sure at the end of one of the videos he wakes up and says, I remember, he either says, I remember, or I remember what he did to me. Now, that could be referring to Halloween a few years ago where Auntie slit Jack's throat. If you ever see the character Antisepticeye, he's got a big slit throat. I dressed up as Auntie for Halloween last year. That was so much fun. And some kid actually recognized me as Auntie. It was so cool. But I thought that something Auntie would do if he's willing to slit Jack's throat to try and get rid of him, I thought this is something that Antisepticeye would do. He would sew Jack's mouth shut. I think I saw it ages and ages ago. Now that I'm trying to think about it, the fan fiction might have been, not fan fiction, fan art, might have been of Auntie sewing his own neck together or something like that. But to get Jack not to talk about why he's been in a coma, I figured Auntie would sew his mouth shut. So I kind of wanted to try and dress up as Jack again, but this time Auntie's gone ahead and sewn his mouth shut, so he can't say anything about what happened while he was in a coma. That is a really big long explanation as to why I wanted to do this, but that is the truth behind it. I desperately wanted to do this look because I feel like that's something that Auntie would do. Just me personally. I could be completely wrong, and Jack, if you ever see this, feel free to tell me. It's so weird calling him Jack because my brother's name is Jack. Sean, if you ever see this, feel free to tell me that I'm wrong or anything like that. I am gonna say, if you do ever see this though, please come to Australia on tour. Please, pretty please. We managed to get Markiplier here, now all I need is to get you here and I will be fantastic. Anyway, so for this, I've got my usuals of bruise wheel, cuts and scratches wheel, my liquid latex, all my fake blood and everything like that. I have scissors. Now with this look, I'm going to say a warning right now because I may forget to say it in the voiceover when I'm recording that. This is totally safe for me, okay? I'm going to be putting liquid latex around my lips and toilet paper over my mouth. I'm still going to be able to breathe through my nose, but again, this is going to be safe for me specifically. If anything like that freaks you out or anything like that, disclaimer, please do not attempt this at home unless you are comfortable with not being able to breathe through your mouth. I am able more often than not to just straight up breathe through my nose. In fact, I do it quite regularly. I don't like the whole open mouth breathing thing unless I'm really puffed, like I'm getting now because I'm getting into this. So yeah, disclaimer, this is going to be safe for me. I am going to be using scissors to cut around the toilet paper so that I then can free up my mouth a little bit because I still want my lips to be able to be seen. It's just a case of the way that I'm doing this, I need to have it over it first and then cut the holes into it kind of thing. I'm completely fine with this, but other people may not be. So if you're going to try and recreate this, please make sure you are super comfortable with 1, using liquid latex, 2, using toilet paper, obviously, to cover things. So you've seen all my other tutorials where I've used stuff, I'm super comfortable with it. And 3, Make sure you're comfortable with having something over your mouth for a decent amount of time, because you are going to have, I'm only going to do one piece of toilet paper as far as I know, but I may change it to 2. So it's going to be there for a while you're waiting for everything to dry before you cut it out. So you've got to be able to be calm and not freak out about having something over your mouth. Anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cleanse my face. I'm going to start this off. I'm going to do something I haven't done before, and I'm going to voice this over. Alexis, remember to film a voiceover, because I'm obviously not going to be able to talk very soon with everything over my mouth, and I don't want to disrupt the latex too much. So first things first, I'm going to cleanse my face, and then I'm going to get straight into it and hope to God that this works, and maybe Jacksepticeye watches it, because that'd be really cool. But here we go, guys. Alright, so I'm just cleaning my face like I said, guys. Still cleaning my face. Sorry, I'm watching this and doing this at the same time. I'm taking my liquid latex, trying to open it. Don't ever open things with your teeth like I do, guys. It's not good. It's in the container. Now I've got my brush, and I'm just putting it around my mouth in a general shape, avoiding my lips if I can. I really don't know how this is working. Not the video, that is, like the voice recording. I hope this is okay with you guys. I know, I'm just straightening it out into a bit of a square because I am OCD. That's not a square, that's a rectangle. Now I'm just putting the toilet paper into the size that I want it to go in. And yeah, I cut out the bits where it took me a little bit to get that right, and I've put the extra bits over the top now so I can cover the whole shape of the latex that I made. And yeah, I fiddle with things a lot, guys. But now I'm putting a layer of liquid latex on. What you don't see after this is that I put on another layer of liquid latex before I start drying this off. And then I'll get to the next bit after I've done that. But you've got to make sure you get a fairly decently even layer of liquid latex on the toilet paper, just so that it doesn't dry too weird. I mean, I know it looks like skin coming off, but I'm sorry for the camera flares as well, guys. So now I'm just taking my dryer. By this point, I've got about 2 layers of liquid latex over the top of the toilet paper, so 3 in total. I was just using the dryer. Now this is just me letting you guys know that I was going to wait for it to dry. And it's all dry now, so I'm going to take my Dream Cushion Maybelline foundation. And I realize as I'm doing this that the Maybelline Dream Cushion foundation is a little bit more not my skin color than I would like. Yeah, while I was doing this I realized, and I was like, that's not the right color. So I'm just going over, trying to cover as much of the latex as I can. By this point I was just trying to save me having to run away and find my other foundation, because it wasn't in the bathroom, it was outside, funnily enough. So yeah, I'm covering my entire face with this now, because that's the point that I'm up to in the process, is I do like to cover the rest of my face. Excuse me, I just about burped then. Even if it's just like a light layer of foundation, it's what I like to do, because it more often than not makes me look sick, I guess. And I suppose if you've had, you know, your lips cut at and sewn together, then you wouldn't look too well. But again, I'm attempting to make this work, but the color's just not working. I don't know what I was thinking. So I go ahead and I go and find my other liquid foundation. Ta-da! And then I get my beauty blender and I go through and, you know, just do what you guys have seen me do a bunch of times. You'll notice too that after I put that bit of foundation on my lips, I don't do my lips as much, purely and simply for the fact because it's a bit of a waste. I am going to be cutting out around my lips, so that's all that is. And then I've gone and gotten my powder foundation just to set everything and give myself a little bit more color rather than that icky yellow color that you guys saw me with. I don't know why that foundation went yellow, but yeah, don't freak out if this doesn't look right straight away. It's not meant to look exactly the color of your skin, because what I do is I go ahead and I turn it into a wound. So I make it look bruised. So I've taken my yellow color on my bruise wheel, and that's the base that I always use for any of my bruises or cuts or scratches. This is so weird doing a voiceover. I don't normally do this. This is kind of weird. And normally for the next thing I would go with my green, but as you can see I've shaken my head and I'm like, no, I'm not using that. I'm gonna go with my blue. The green's more so a color I use for zombies and that sort of thing, being a color I associate with rotting and that. And then I go ahead and I take my purple just to, you know, darken up the bruise a bit. And I think by this point in my head I'm realizing that I don't quite like the way it's turning out. So I'm thinking about it and I go ahead and I grab my red from my cuts and scratches wheel and I make it look, to me this looks more realistic, like it would be a fresh wound, would be red and angry and not bruised straight away. It'll still have a little bit of the bruising, but not as much as what I was trying to do for it. And I didn't like how bright it was, so I just went over it with my powder foundation again. God, I need to stop using that brush, it's feral. Now this is just me letting you guys know, don't use scissors on anybody else, or don't use them on you if you're not comfortable. I'm fairly comfortable with it, that's why I'm saying you guys don't use it, unless you are super comfortable. Now all I did was use my finger to find where the gap is in my lips, and I'm just cutting along my lip line first, and then I'm cutting off the extra pieces that I want to get rid of so I'm able to talk while I've got this look on. So I'm just, yeah, going around, cutting a rough shape around my lips. I will tell you later on when I'm back from the video that I should have made the gap wider. I'm, again, re-watching this now. I definitely should have made the gap wider, but you can see me trying to fix that here with my fingers by pressing everything apart. The other reason I pressed it apart was to make it easier for the needle to go through the liquid latex. So I'm taking the darker purple shade, I think it is, from the cuts and scratches wheel. It's like a burgundy kind of color. And I'm going around and I'm just trying to make it look like my lips have been really, really attacked at this point. Sorry if I'm talking too much, guys. I'm trying to fill in the emptiness that is the space of me doing this because I'm not talking in between things. Normally I would be. So I've got the black now. I've gone ahead and done the black and I'm just using the end of the paintbrush. Oh gosh, I've got to catch up. This is me just talking about sewing it, but the reason I used the end of the brush was I wanted to get like the little white bits that were there. This is just me basically saying in my head, remember to tell everyone that I am okay with doing this to myself. I would never do it on another person. And if you're squeamish, you probably shouldn't be watching this because it does kind of look like I'm sewing through my skin. I swear to you guys, I'm not sewing through my skin. I'm just putting a needle through the bit of toilet paper and liquid latex that's there. It was an interesting experience, that's for sure, because it reminded me of when I had a mole cut out of my neck. I had anesthetic and all that sort of thing in there, but I could feel the skin being tugged and pulled. That's kind of like what this was. That's how well liquid latex sticks to your skin. That's what that felt like. So I'm just going through and I'm doing a rough, really super rough sewing job. I'm normally much better at sewing than this, but I was like, I've never done this before. I'm freaking out. I hope this doesn't get ruined or anything. I had bits that hadn't gone through properly. I went across because I missed bits on the other side. It was a big jumbled mess. Like if you saw any of the pictures that I put up on Twitter, it just ended up being like a really big mess. But I was okay with it. For a first attempt, I was really happy with it. But yeah, I don't know what I'm doing by this point. I'm just going across and adding more string that doesn't need to be there. But yeah, so I've tied it off and everything, and now I'm just using my thick clotted blood to add, you know, blood to it. I spilt some on the counter there. I'm just, yeah, adding the blood to it to kind of, you know, obviously make it look like someone has been sticking a needle through my skin. And making it look really super messy, kind of like a horror character, but let's face it, at this point, guys, I'm always a horror character. Now I'm just taking the liquid blood, and trying to make it look like it's been bleeding a bit more from the sides of my mouth, like someone actually has cut out my lips. And then I'm going along each dot where the thread goes through. Ta-da! Okay, so it's really difficult to talk like this, but it is still doable. That's a random bit of string. I'm pretty happy with this. I probably should have used like thicker string or something like that. I think if I attempt this at Halloween time. I will use, goodness me, I got this stuff everywhere. I will probably use wool or something like that and only do like crisscross, crisscross, crisscross. And I will definitely make the gap bigger so it's easier for me to move my mouth because obviously I'll be working when I do it. But I'm really happy with this. The reason I went with green thread, because I've forgotten the name of everything, is because again, this idea was inspired for me by Ashley and I talking about horror makeup, and then me thinking about what Auntie would possibly do to keep Jack quiet. I know this is all probably really random for people who have never watched this, but yeah, I'm gonna leave you guys now. I think this was good for a first attempt at doing this, guys. Like I will have said in the voiceovers, please, 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 only if you are super confident, do this design. If not, the cheaty way to do it is to just put the latex around the edges of your lips with the toilet paper around that. But I wanted to cut it so that it looked a little bit more realistic, but that's just me. You don't have to do that. And same thing with the sewing it through. There are ways of just sticking the thread to it. I trusted myself to do it to myself. I would never ever attempt this on anybody else. But yeah, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go away and I'm gonna turn myself into Jacksepticeye, kind of, more or less, or maybe even just turn myself into Auntie because he's really trippy and cool. Do a little bit of editing and hopefully put the picture up on Twitter. But I'm going to end this video here because it's dragging on way too long. I hope I've sped this up properly and done this properly and all that sort of thing. But yeah, that's a wrap for this video. Thanks heaps for watching. Like and subscribe if you want to. Believe in yourself and be you, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye guys!